Hello, everyone. It will be our last presentation before the lunch, so stay with me just a little bit. My name is Tetiana. I am data and AI leader with more than 10 years of experience in data science, classical machine learning, and recently agentic AI. And today I will share some experience about how we built a platform, internal platform for developing many AI agents at scale, and why, if you are working with a large organization, standardization of agentic development is a key to your success. And I wish I have a beautiful stick to switch the slides. I will do it myself, no problem. After Afonso's presentation, I also realized I need to work heavily on my nano banana skills. I will practice that. But please forgive me for my poor prompting here. Imagine a big B2C platform, marketplace. In such marketplaces, you usually have many teams talking to users about customer support, about payments and contracts, about recommendations and how to discover your product, many things. And since you have many ongoing conversations with your users, you can use agentic AI there very easily. This is like natural place to use agentic AI. And from organizational perspective, it means that you have dozen teams developing these conversational solutions, usually chatbots, and dozen teams working across big organization. How does it work? I think the life cycle of this development of these solutions, agentic solutions, had two natural phases at my company. At phase one in late 2024 and early 2025, we were questioning if agents will even work. I think everyone here had that little moment questioning it a little bit. And we wanted intentionally to give every team some flexibility to experiment with agentic AI, to understand how it works, how to fine-tune it to your specific use case. And we also didn't want to allow dozen teams to develop in dozen stacks. So we wanted some standardization from the day one, but we wanted to give teams flexibility. If I really can have a magic stick to switch the slides, I would be so happy. If not, it's okay. This is how our first platform that we developed in early 2025 looked like. So we had Java service running connection to channels. We have joined supervisors we have supervisors in each chatbot. We have joined backend to collect two bots. But if you look at this slide in the middle, that every team had a lot of flexibility to develop different architecture for agents, React agents, tool calling agent, and free agent. And it was intentional to give this flexibility. At phase one, ownership model for teams was like this. Teams were owning architecture, tool writing to internal APIs, evaluation metrics, and platform was owning common stack, Java, Python, LangGraph. We used LangGraph in phase one, and shared observability tools. So very minimum to avoid having too many different solutions, but a lot of flexibility, again, for the teams. Does anyone here developed with LangGraph? Yes, okay. LangGraph gives you a lot of ability to customize things for what you want to do. And this is good when you're exploring how it works. But again, if you have dozen teams, it means that you expect every team to understand the best agentic design practices, to dive deeper into best LangGraph practices. And you have high barrier to start building for AI. And for the big organization, it may not be the best setup. Every team at phase one moved fast. We delivered many good things. I will talk more about it on the next slide. But as you can see, we had a zoo of different agentic architectures. Some teams were embracing React early in 2025. Some teams coded their workflows and used LLMs only to vary conversations a little bit. Some teams had many subagents. Some teams developed one huge prompt. And this is what you have if you allow many teams to develop with a high flexibility in more or less isolated setup. But it worked. So the bet was right. Teams explored things. In 2025, the company launched 8 agentic chatbots with positive ROI. It was possible to launch a new chatbot in weeks, and it was possible to customize it a lot for your domain. What do you think we did in phase 2? Phase 2 is late 2025 and early 2026 and keep going. And this is a moment when people had a taste and tried agentic AI, and everyone slowly started talking about standardization, how to make it reliable, how to make it scale. We were talking here today already about reliability and guardrail metrics, and probably we will be talking more about it. So we moved to the next phase and our mindset evolved. Your customers at Marketplace, they do not think in terms of your organization. What I mean, I mentioned there are many chatbots helping with customer support, helping with discoveries, helping with payments and contracts. But if you are a customer, a user, you come to the app or you come to WhatsApp number, you just want to solve your problems. You don't think, oh, I moved from recommendation journey to customer support journey. I definitely need to go to the different WhatsApp number or different section of application. Now different team is handling me. No, like customer just wants to solve it in a simple way in one place. And very naturally, our senior management wanted to create one virtual assistant and connect many agents developed across organization into one big virtual assistant. And guess what? If you have a zoo of different agents, they will not connect naturally, right? There are many problems, memory and context management, tool usage. And for example, one of the simple, not simple problems is evaluation. User frustration is quite common metric for LLM as a judge. But it's so easy to imagine that one team thinks that user is frustrated when they the same question a couple of times or use negative wording. And team B can easily think that simply if user abandons conversation, the user is frustrated. Both teams has rational because both teams understand the user problem. But when you're trying to measure frustration across big organization, it simply does not converge because you do not have standardization and you are not aligned. This is what we did in the phase 2. We created so-called opinionated platform. What opinionated even means? It means that all complicated decisions are already embedded in the platform by itself. Agents can be only React agent. There is no flexibility for that. All business logic lives in MCP tools and there is joint MCP server, period. Evaluation library is standardized, one library, and there is a predefined set of metrics, core metrics for all the teams. The teams in this setup have very limited ownership. How ownership model evolved. The teams control the prompt of their agent. The teams control list of MCP tools and business logic, list of sub-agent, and configuration of experiments. That's mostly it. Of course, I'm oversimplifying, but in a nutshell, this is it. Platform controls how MCP contracts will work, all agent skeleton, guardrails, evaluations, like way more things are already put in the platform by design. What does it mean for developers who are working with the platform? It means that barrier to start building is much lower. Product teams, design teams can try to build their agents now too and understand what is going on. All best practices are already in the platform. Agents are composable. Of course, it comes at a price of less flexibility, but this choice was very deliberate. And on the right, you can see how actually YAML file defining a listing assistant agent can look like, with a few parameters, with some name of the feature flag, eval suits, so everything standardized, everything simple, easy to follow, easy to start building. This movement was not happening in some isolation. All industry since 2025 is moving to better standardization and control. I would argue, this is my subjective judgment, since MCP was first introduced now more than 1 year ago, who would believe that? Everything is slowly converging to standardization and better control. Last but not least, it was very interesting that even before we were able to build this one virtual assistant, simply migration from old platform to new platform gave business some very good measurable impact. This is because I mentioned that not all teams were adopting best agentic design practices. And when we enforced all organizations to use new platform with better agentic design, it gave business impact. For example, escalation rate decreased in double digits scale, and escalation rate is something companies paying a lot when chatbot sends user to human customer support teams. So if you need to build one agent, it's easy. Many wonderful tools there for you. But if you need to build 10, 20 or more agents, you will very quickly have a problem. So standardization is your secret sauce and your silver bullet in this case. Thank you so much.